Oh yes, the good old days. Windmills, hoofbeat of my horse, pack of faithful zombies, and me playing Heroes 3. Ha! Maybe not so old days, I guess. Meanwhile, Heroes of Might and Magic 3 hits the board, and so it's time for me to saddle my horse and go on a quest in search for the answer to the question: is this the Heroes board game I've been waiting for? Yeah! Greetings, heroes, wizards, and you sexy beast. This is Adam, aka Weekly Game Night, and well, astrologers proclaim that Heroes of Might and Magic 3 hits the board. Yes, you heard me right. Thanks to Polish publisher Arkon Studio and its designer Jakub Oleksik, we can once again feel the nostalgia of those times, but this time it's on the board. As on November 15, this board game adaptation of the absolute PC classic game launches on Kickstarter. And me, your humble narrator, I knew it that hundreds of hours spent while playing this PC game will be good for something. I told you, ma'am, I told you. Anyways, in this video, I'm gonna show you what this game is all about. I will tell you what do I really love about this game, but also what might not be for everyone, and I will answer the most important question of all: is it Heroes of Might and Magic 3 on board that we were all waiting for? Well, ready? Let me take you on an adventure through the world of Erathia. Heroes of Might and Magic 3 is a turn-based strategic game for 1 to 3 players. In the games, players clash or cooperate with each other, trying to complete scenario's objective. There is also a solo mode for the lone wolves that comes along with the dedicated campaign. And if you are interested in 4 players gameplay, then with additional factions you can pick the special alliance mode 2 versus 2. And you can find more information about the game on Kickstarter. You will find the link to the campaign in the description of this video, and you might also be interested in more of my YouTube videos about this game. And of course, your humble storyteller encourages you to subscribe to my YouTube, and how about hitting that like button? So, as you can see, it's colorful, it's magical. Well, you can definitely feel the vibe of the Heroes of Might and Magic 3 game in it. So, first off, let me show you a couple of elements that are in this board game adaptation of the PC game. So, let's start with exploration. So, these miniatures representing heroes, you will be using these to move across the map, and while moving you will visit different locations and you will gain some cards and some resources as well, because simple economy is a part of this game as well. There are 3 types of resources in the game, and for those resources you will be able, for example, to expand your town. So this is the town board. You will be able to buy buildings, and those buildings will grant you access to different units or special actions. Also, with the resources, you will be able to buy units. Yes, there is plenty of units in this game, and you will be buying those units. You will keep them on these special battlefield boards, and when you clash with neutral units or other player, then you will play kind of a skirmish game, and this is really cool element of this game, because you will be using different actions. The units has its own attack points, defense, hit points, and initiative, and that takes us to deck of Might and Magic. This deck will be composed of different type of cards, and you will have spells, abilities, statistics, and artifacts. and perhaps it's the biggest compromise that the designer had to make in comparison to the PC version of the game, but it's working so nicely. You will be so the deck building is present in this game, and you will be building your own deck of cards while traveling through the world of Eratia, and you will be playing those cards both while doing the traveling part of the game and also while fighting. This is really cool element of the game. And now it's time to take some in-depth look into gameplay basics. But if you are perhaps more interested in my opinion about the game, you can skip right to the next chapter of this video. Heroes of Might and Magic 3 is a turn-based strategic game in which the heroes play their rounds alternately and visit an array of locations, develop their towns, fight with neutral units and other players as well. And all of that for the glory and the victory. Oh, and yes, you can find the victory conditions in this scenario book. The scenario determines the number of players, game length, map setup, events, starting units and buildings, and above all, victory conditions. In this chosen scenario called Brave New World, the winner will be the player who controls most of the mines that are present on a map at the end of the game. The game of Heroes of Might and Magic 3 takes place on the map made of tiles, each one divided into 7 fields through which our mighty heroes move. Game is divided into rounds. Odd rounds bring the income based on the income level of each of the resources. In this case, Warrior Mutare receives 20 gold, 4 stone and 2 valuables. Even turns, on the other hand, bring special events written on the astrologer's cards. But before we move on to the round treatment, let's take a look at the heroes boards and deck of Might and Magic. On the hero board there is a name, type, starting cards, special abilities and the experience track. Gaining experience allows for a higher hand limit, adding new hero, personal abilities or playing more cards at the expert level. Deck building is one of the most important aspects of Heroes of Might and Magic 3. While playing, players will develop their deck of Might and Magic, and it can consist of spells, abilities, statistics cards and artifacts. In this smart way, several different aspects of the PC game were mixed together and added to its board game counterpart. And I got to say, I really dig it. In each of the game rounds, players will execute their actions consecutively. There are some exceptions though, but we'll get to that later. The player starts with cards drawn up to their current limit. Here, Tamika, being at 3rd experience level, draws 5 cards. Next, we move on to the actions breakdown. So let's take a look at the actions, and those can be split into 2 types. Purchasing a spell from the Mage Guild, expanding town, and recruitment are the actions that all the players can execute simultaneously, but only once in a round. A neat way to deal with the downtime. The other action type is the ones that are executed only in the single player's round without any limits. Moving, buying a secondary hero, playing cards, visiting locations and of course battles. So let's take a look at each of the actions one by one. Expanding your town basically means buying one of the buildings that, much like in the PC version, allows you to recruit new units or grants you some special effects. In this case, we see mighty Tamika building Mausoleum so she can recruit new silver units like powerful vampires or leeches. If we have the Mage Guild present in the town, we can purchase a spell by choosing top card from the discarded spells cards or picking one out of 2 cards drawn from the spell deck. Recruit units. While recruiting unit action, we can purchase new units or change the unit's quantity to its lot side, which not only is the stronger version of the unit, but often it has better special unit action. After buying Mausoleum, Tamika decides that her army will be supported by the long-range predators, the leeches. In the beginning of the game, you get to choose one hero, but while we play, we can easily recruit the secondary one. But his role in the game is auxiliary. He can help you visiting the map locations, take care of simpler battles, but this hero does not have the access to the deck of Might and Magic. Move action. Each main hero has 3 base move points. Moving to an adjacent field costs 1 movement point, the same as placing or exploring new map tile. Check out how our undead Tamika here moves to the edge of the map tile and reveals it. Next, she moves to the adjacent region by playing Logistics ability card. Yes, my dear daredevils, cards played from the hand not only support our heroes in the combat, but also on a map. Thanks to this clever move, she's left with 1 point of movement, so she visits the next location to get her some treasures, but first there is a battle to be fought. If while movement, our hero enters the field with a Roman numeral or with an enemy hero present, we immediately start the battle. In this case, we start off by drawing neutral units according to the encounter level and current difficulty level of the game. In this battle, we will greet boars, mummies and rogues. We'll greet them with fireballs and steel. While playing out the battles, the game changes to a simplified skirmish wargame. So think of units with stats and special abilities, spells and ability cards, and battlefields divided into rectangular fields. Before we continue though, it's worth taking a look at the unit card. Each of them has an attack, defense, hit points, initiative and optional special ability. Unit cards are double-sided. If the unit quantity is lots, then when the hit points are dropped to 0, instead of removing the unit from the battle, we turn the card on its other side. The battle itself is played round by round. Players move their units according to the unit's initiative, starting off with the highest initiative unit. Ground units can move up to 2 fields, but flying units can move up to 3 fields. To attack the enemy, we need to move our unit to the adjacent field and roll an attack modifier dice. In this example, our frightening vampires will attack the boars. Our attack or defense can be supported by playing cards, and this is exactly the plan here. We're gonna play attack card at the expert level. To determine the exact damage, we need to total up the attack stat of the unit, dice modifier, played cards and the defense of the defender. In this case, the attack is 4, modifier is -1 and we got +2 from the cards. Altogether, it's 5 versus 0 defense, hence vampires defeat the enemy immediately. BAM! Right in that stupid snout. If, however, the defender's unit will survive, then much like in the PC game, it can retaliate. The exception to this rule is the ranged attack, which by the way can reach any unit on the map. And so, here we see rogues surviving the skeleton's attack and retaliating by dealing 2 damage, -1 defense equals 1 damage, which didn't bring the skeleton's hit points to 0. While fighting the neutral units, we played just 1 full round, and every next round cost us 1 movement point. But to experience the truly epic clashes, I surely recommend fighting live opponent in one of the castles with castle walls and shooting towers present on the field of battle. And when it comes to the actions, it's pretty much that's it. When one player is done, it's time for another player's round. And so on, round by round, until only one winner emerges. Well, I'm glad to have you back. Now that we all know what the gameplay is all about, let me share my opinion about Heroes of Might and Magic 3 with you. First, let's start off by answering the question, is it a good game? And yes, it's a damn fine game, and as a board game itself. But if you are a Heroes of Might and Magic fan, then definitely this game is some special gift in November for you. Why? Because it has this Heroes of Might and Magic vibe in it. Okay, authors had to make some compromises in order to be able to play it in some, manageable time, but still this is Heroes of Might and Magic on board. And let me break down the game elements and the gameplay elements for you. So let's start with the scenarios. So there are 3 modes in this game. There is a solo mode for 1 player with campaign, by the way, which is really cool. There is this co-op for 2 to 3 players, and also there is this competitive mode for 2 to 3 players. And for each of these modes, there are a couple of scenarios prepared, and each scenario brings something different. So you have different starting resources, different starting deck of cards, units, buildings present in your towns, and so on and so on and so on. And this is really cool because every scenario has this different vibe to it, and I really like it. But I really wished that there were more scenarios present. And while we are at it, also there definitely could be more of ability cards, spell cards, and artifact cards as well. But this is just the prototype, and I really hope that with the help of the community, the campaign on the Kickstarter will be successful, and we will definitely see more of these game elements. Let's address the elephant in the room, which is the downtime. So, when you are playing this game solo, obviously no downtime at all. When you are playing this game 1v1, then also it's all good, because when one player is taking his actions, other may perform some actions simultaneously, and also when the other player is fighting neutral units, you take control of the neutral units and you are kind of in a game, right? But when we get to the 3 players mode, then it's a completely different animal, because at some point in the climax of the scenario, 2 players will fight each other, and you will simply have to wait for like 5 or 10 minutes. Okay, to me it's not a big problem, because I'm used to play like war games, which sometimes take a lot of time, and you really have to wait for a long time for your turn. So we can basically go and watch Game of Thrones or whatever. But I know that there are players who like to be in control and, you know, feel the game all the time. And to them, I would advise them to play this game, but only with 2 players. So let's get to the fun part, deck building. I've already mentioned that deck building is probably the biggest compromise the author of the game had to go for, but you know, it works really well. So in the PC game, you had the hero with its statistics, with its abilities, spells and artifacts, and in the board game adaptation, the author came up with this idea to mix all of that into deck building mechanic. So you basically have all these elements, but on cards, which you manage, which you acquire, which you discard throughout the game. And what is really cool is that these cards help you while playing on the board and also while playing the battle. So you should really, be careful about what cards are you choosing. It's a true spirit of deck building present in this one, and it works really well with other game mechanics. You don't feel like it's there, by force or artificially, but you feel like it's a part of the board game that simply should be there. And now let's talk a little bit about Heroes economy. So economy is very important because it will take us to the optimization in this game. But first, let's focus on economy. So there are 3 types of resources present in this game, which is a little bit streamlined in comparison to PC version, but still, when you move across the map, you visit different locations, you take control of mines, and hence you have more income. And for this income, you can buy different units, buildings, spells, secondary hero, and so on. So you basically need resources to do all of that. But while it is simple, it is also very important for the entirety of the game. Why? Because this game is really about optimization of your actions. So it is so important to do your actions in proper order. So when the game goes on and you are in some late rounds of the game, you are in a way, a little bit farther than your opponent is in terms of economy, in terms of character development, in terms of deck building, because somewhere in the end of each game there will be this huge clash, two heroes fighting versus each other. And it's really important to plan your actions carefully and to gain some advantage. And okay, this is not the game that difficult as, for example, Utia or Mage Knight, definitely not as Mage Knight, but still you have pretty much the same vibe, that you need to be very careful about what you are doing, and you need to squeeze the most out of each of the turns you are taking. Good news is that there is a catch-up mechanism hidden in this game. It's not straightforward, it's not like you will gain anything or whatever simply because you are behind the other player, because there is no victory points in this game, but the catch-up mechanism is timing and controlling the town. So basically, if your opponent is stronger than you, you might wait for a proper moment to attack him, and the good moment will be probably while he's after some another battle, he still hasn't refreshed his cards, or he suffered some casualties. Then it's a good moment to attack, and even if you are weaker, you might win the battle and win the game. And also the other player always have to be in a way close to his town, because you might also take control of his town, and well, it wouldn't be good for him. So as you can see, timing and town control is very important in this game. Even if you are stronger, you did better throughout the game, you still need to be careful while playing Heroes of Might and Magic 3. And that takes us to the construction of the game itself. So in this game, you will develop your hero, build your deck, gather your units, of course, expand your town as well, but gather your units, and this will take you to the climax of the scenario, in which you might clash against the other hero, against the monster when you are playing it co-op. But don't expect this game to be like a 6-hour game in which you will have like 7 heroes each and you will fight 25 battles while playing the game. Okay, it's not this kind of game at all. Basically, when one of the hero is losing his army, it's game over, it's KO, it's done. So it's actually a good approach, because if it would be otherwise, then okay, it might be more like a PC game, but you know, who would have time to play this game for a couple of hours? And with this approach, you can play this game within 2, 3, okay, maybe 4 hours with 3 players, okay, let's say 4 hours, maybe even, but with 2 players, definitely within 2 or 3 hours. And you know, this is kind of a game time that probably everybody would like to see, and not, you know, 6 hours of a game, which by the way might be cool, but yeah, not for tabletop probably. And while we are at scenario's climax, let's talk about the battles, because this is one of my favorite game elements of Heroes of Might and Magic 3. So we have units with its abilities, with its statistics and initiative. We have fields of battle which connect together while you are clashing against other player. And if you are fighting in a castle, you also have the gate, the walls, and the arrow tower. And you know, it's so epic, and you really have that Heroes of Might and Magic feeling to it. I really love these skirmish battles, and they have just announced this new expansion that even elevates the experience, because you will be able to fight the battles basically as you would fought them on your PC, using these hexagonal fields and obstacles, and well, it becomes even more tactical. So skirmish in the core edition is very cool, but I really can't wait for this advanced mode in the expansion. And now let's talk about the visuals of this game. So the whole user interface is a little bit retro, and I would really like it to be a little bit more modern, but okay, I get it, it's my thing, and this is Heroes of Might and Magic 3, so I guess they wanted to keep it more like the original. But the good thing is that all the graphics in the game have been redrawn, completely redrawn. Okay, still icons for the spells, abilities, heroes, etc. are the same, but were, you know, redrawn because of the need for the high quality. And the good thing also is that the map looks incredible. The hero miniatures also, they look incredible, and there is also this expansion for each of the factions that will introduce unit miniatures, so you will be fighting on a board using units miniatures instead of cards, and I can't imagine playing it otherwise because I want to see this game in its full glory. It's time for the most important question. Is this game a true adaptation of Heroes of Might and Magic 3 played on a board? And well, let's check. We have modular map on which you can move and visit different locations, and of course you can explore it. We have some economy, and we can expand our towns, and we can buy the units. We can fight with each other. We have astrologers cards, we have neutral units over here. Well, let me tell you folks, this game has this Heroes of Might and Magic vibe definitely, and I really enjoy it. And let me get this straight, this game is not a one-to-one adaptation of the PC game. Instead, author decided for some streamlined solutions and came up with the new ideas to keep the Heroes of Might and Magic 3 spirits alive, but adapted to the tabletop specifics. And it has really worked out, because while playing this game we can really feel the vibe of the original Heroes. But it's not only about the nostalgia, it's also about the breath of the fresh air that comes with the new solution that this game introduces to the table. And this, my friends, is the Heroes game I've been waiting for. Clever mix of deck building, economy, optimization, units management, skirmish battles. It all says that we are dealing with a magical game, and a mighty fine one. So if you like what you see, then how about go to Kickstarter, choose your pledge, support the project, and well, let's open up some stretch goals, right? And basically that's it from me. If you like what you see, how about subscribing to my YouTube channel or leave a like, comment. I will answer all the questions if there are any. And yeah, thanks for watching and bye bye!